the relationship between the law and the gospel, sort of a dialectic, is a major feature of Lutheran theology. It's right at the cusp, right at the center of what's most important about the Christian faith. What's most important about the Christian faith is that God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to save a fallen race of sinners. And how do you know you're sinners? You know you're sinners because of the law. So the law can mean two basic things. There's the law that God gave in Scripture when he spoke and gave commandments that were written down for the people, especially when he spoke from Mount Sinai and gave the Mosaic law. And then there's also what St. Paul talks about in the book of Romans chapter 1, the law that the Gentiles don't have because they weren't part of Israel. They weren't given it by special revelation, but they show that they have the law written on their hearts from their sort of innate knowledge of right and wrong. And we're talking about conscience there. And conscience is not a reliable guide because conscience happens inside the head of the sinner, and it can get warped by the sinner's own understandings, by the understandings of his culture, the special allowances that his culture makes for things that really shouldn't happen, but of course they happen here, so they must be okay. And so the law in its most reliable form, the law that human beings can hear and know that actually is the law of God, is what Scripture says. But it is attested on many points by the feelings of guilt and laws such as laws against murder, laws against adultery and things of that nature, laws against false testimony in court, which you find universal in every nation. And so the law can be considered in terms of its content or in terms of an actual legislative code. And the legislative code is what is specifically given by the grace of God to the people of earth who have sinned against him, so that they know what they should be doing and so that they can evaluate their own activity in the way that he does himself. He says, you shall not do this, and the individual is able to hold up his own behavior to scrutiny and say, like, have I in fact done that? And so it has a value in society. That's the first use of the law. It has a value in the mind of the individual person to make him realize that he is in fact a sinner. And then once he realizes that he is a sinner, that's where the gospel comes in. And the gospel is, since God has given a law, St. Paul says in Romans chapter 5, this is a law that can't save. The law can't actually save you because you are sinners, and by the time you confront the law, you've already sinned, and after you confront the law, you continue to sin, only now with less excuse. And so the purpose of the law overall in God's plan of salvation was not to give you a way that you could save yourself, but it was to let you know that you needed to be saved.